I've been zero waste now for about 8 years, and honestly, the movement is starting to annoy me. From the ideas that you have to be perfect, to people not joining the movement because they think that they can't do enough, to the stigma that you have to fit this zero waste aesthetic. I've got a lot of things that I hate about zero waste, so let's talk about them today. Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste and ways that we can all be activists. I might talk a little bit too fast. If you need to, change the speed of the gear icon right down there. And yes, today, another craft and yap. I've got my t-shirt yarn that I just finished last night. I've got my t-shirt rug. Look at the size of this. I don't know the last time I updated you on it. It's ginormous. I only have 4 t-shirts left to add, so we're in the home stretch, which also means full video tutorial is coming really soon. Join me for some crafting. Let me know what you're gonna be making down below. Okay, where's the end of my yarn? This shirt, my volleyball shirt from 7th grade. First, we need to talk about zero waste does not equal perfection. Now, I can see why some people made this mistake of confusing it for perfection in the past, because in the past, yeah, like prominent zero wasters, they had the trash jar, you know, this zero waste aesthetic, etc., but I really feel like over the last, especially 5 years, the zero waste movement really did shift a lot in 2020. Over that time period, I think we have really moved away from you don't have to be perfect to be zero waste, but there's still such a stigma around that from people inside the movement, but even more from people who are outside the movement. During this time, especially over the last 5 years or so, so many of us have been cultivating a new zero waste movement, if you will, that allows imperfection and focuses on the blame of the real culprits, wasteful companies and governments. So over the years, I think inside the movement, yeah, a lot has changed in terms of who's to blame? Do I need to be perfect? Can I use any sort of plastic, etc., And also I think a lot less blame of the individuals. But outside the movement, I think there's still a lot of confusion as to what zero waste is, and I cover more about truly the definition of zero waste and the history of the movement in this video. So in short, zero waste is simply reducing what you can send to the landfill. The movement was created for businesses, but it was co-opted by individuals, for better or for worse. It's not a bad goal for individuals to have, but we need to remember that even the most wasteful companies are still held to the same standard of diverting only 90% of their waste from the landfill. Even companies who can claim a zero waste standard like Kroger only divert 90% of their waste from the landfill. So they can still throw away 10% of their garbage, still can be considered zero waste. So can you. I've even gotten a lot of comments from brands this year, which I've never gotten before, like brands that I've been working with, where I'll send them a script or I'll send them a concept and they're like, this is great, except we're not zero waste because like we produce a little bit of garbage. I'm like, you're still zero waste, because mostly zero waste is just the name of the movement. Zero waste is a search term. Zero waste does not and never has implied perfection. It feels like it's gotten really bad this year in particular, that people really think that you have to be perfect to use even the word zero waste, let alone join the movement. And I think it's holding a lot of people back from even trying. Perfection is impossible in any movement. It's impossible to be a perfect vegan. It is impossible to be a perfect zero waster. It's impossible to be a perfect activist. And also think about it in your own life. It's impossible to be a perfect spouse, a perfect friend, a perfect student. Like, perfection is impossible. And that doesn't hold you back from trying to be a friend. That doesn't hold you back from trying to go to school, right? You know that you're not going to be perfect, but you try anyway. And the same with zero waste. I would love to see more people try anyway, even if they know that they can't reach perfection, because at the end of the day, it's so much better, in my opinion, to try to be just a little bit more eco today than you were yesterday, even if you're leaps and bounds from reaching perfection, because trying still matters. And in fact, as I already said, I've been zero waste for about 8 years and I'm still so far from perfect. Like, you're always constantly learning. Your life goes through seasons of change in which, like, maybe you need to use more plastic this year than you did last year, and that's okay. You can still reduce waste in other aspects of your life. You can still reduce emissions by not driving your car and still be zero waste, still be eco without being perfect, and maybe even being a little bit more wasteful than you were in the past. I've said it before and I'll say it again, my little like percentage analogy. I would rather see everybody in the planet just be 1% eco than everybody on the planet don't try, therefore be 0% eco, because they know that they can't reach 100%. If you can only reach 50%, that's amazing. If you can get all the way to 90, that's great too. But truly, maybe you do just sit at that like 1 to 10% range and you can't reduce any more waste than that. That's fine. It's better than 0%. Another issue that I think has come up, especially in the last few years, in terms of like human rights violations and ethics, is that zero waste is too narrowly focused, in my opinion. Not only that, but like even within zero waste, I think it can be too narrowly focused. So for me, I equate zero waste with environmentalism. And as an environmentalist, I care about all things impacting our planet, not just physical waste. I think zero waste can get really caught up in plastic reduction and like that's it, or even like single-use product reduction and that's it. For environmentalism, I personally also care about public lands, water pollution, air pollution, stopping war, mining, and things of that nature. And I'm not saying that every environmentalist needs to care about every single one of these issues 100%. You need to dedicate your life to educating yourself about these topics, but I do just wish that more people saw how interconnected it was, between traditional zero waste focusing on the reduction of trash and also other environmental issues. For example, it's totally fine if hiking isn't your jam, but you should still understand the dire consequence of Trump opening mining on our public land. And I know that this is not the fault of everyday environmentalists who don't dedicate their lives to researching this stuff and getting news alerts. I see that as a part of my job, making environmental content. But my call in here is to other environmentalists. I want to see zero waste become more intersectional. I want other content creators sharing petitions to their stories, supporting Palestinians, calling for the end of wars, and things like that. Because all of these things impact the planet. Genocide impacts the planet, war impacts the planet, mining on our public lands impacts the planet. But also, I suppose if you out there listening are interested in learning more about these topics as well, go for it. Get educated about these topics, read books, read news articles, and understand that all of these things are connected to the planet, our fight for the planet, and zero waste. I also hate that zero waste is too political. The word has become politicized, climate change has become politicized. I did a full deep dive on the history of US climate policy in this video. I love history, I love US politics, I love climate change, I don't love climate change. I love fighting for climate change. I want to fix climate change. But anyway, I wanted to pinpoint where this divide started. If you know anything about US politics, you can probably guess who the culprit is. Drum roll please. Ronald Reagan. So he was kind of the first one to start driving this wedge between the left and the right about climate issues. It started to widen in the 90s. It got kind of really cracked open in the early 2000s with the Bush versus Al Gore race. And then under Trump the first time, and now under Trump the second time, the divide is bigger than ever. But in the 1960s and 70s, both Republican and Democratic administrations started to create positive change in terms of clean air, clean water, protecting endangered species, moving to green energy, and so forth. Everyone cared about the planet in these times, no matter which way you voted. It's just something that makes me really sad about environmentalism. Like, how can you live on this planet and not care about it? I don't understand. Like, even if you're the most conservative person out there, don't you want clean drinking water? Don't you want clean air? But it has just become such an issue of the left. I feel like that's really how the media makes it out to be. It's like, oh, only the left are hippies. Only the left care about the planet. You know, even if you think climate change is fake, it's not. Even if you think that though, don't you want clean air and water? Don't you want a habitable planet for yourself? I just really cannot wrap my mind around the fact that some people don't care about the one planet that we have to live on. So ultimately, you are welcome here, no matter your political ideology. If you are like a more traditional conservative and you care about the planet, welcome. The only exception here is if your politics are based off of hatred. I don't tolerate hate on this channel, but ultimately, if your politics is based in kindness and compassion, we just have different views on how to achieve that, then by all means, let's find a way to work together and let's try to bridge this gap together. A myth that I have been trying to bust since the dawn of my existence on the social medias is that zero waste living is hard and expensive and boring. It's literally in my intro, right? I try to make zero waste living free and easy and fun for everybody. I want everybody to know that they are welcome in this movement and that you can make zero waste as accessible as you need it to be. Because truly, I get so many comments to this day that zero waste living is like a full-time job, or it's too hard, or it takes too much of your money, or it's boring and you have to give up everything you love. I'm not even kidding you when I say like this is the reason why I started my channels. Because I saw so many zero wasters back when I was first starting to live zero waste in 2017 and 2018 that they did very much live a very lavish zero waste life that did take a lot of time to make stuff from scratch. It did take a lot of money to install solar panels, and they were decorating their homes in a certain way, and I'm like, I can't do any of that. I'm like 18, 19, I don't have money, I'm a renter, I can't modify my home. Like, can I still live zero waste? The answer is absolutely yes. You can live zero waste exactly as you are. You don't have to fit this precise mold of having money, having time, and doing boring stuff. If you want to live a fun zero waste life, do it. Like, look, I'm literally doing a hobby right now made out of trash. Like, these t-shirts were destined for the landfill, and I'm using them to do my hobby. It's free, it's easy, and fun. It's all three of them. So my mission has always been to make zero waste accessible and achievable. The point is, you don't have to flip your life on its head and do a whole 180 to live zero waste. If you want to keep up your trinket collection, if you want to continue doing art, if you want to continue doing XYZ, you still can. And then make other changes in your life to make it more eco. Once again, how I made my crochet hobby more eco was I started buying natural fibers, I started upcycling stuff to crochet with, I started using what I already had. You don't have to buy all of the fancy swaps and gadgets and buy solar panels and get an EV now or ever to be considered zero waste. You don't have to spend any of that money to buy all these big fancy swaps that you might not necessarily need to be part of this movement. And it honestly makes me very sad that these stigmas around zero waste still exist in the public, but also from within this community. Because I even get comments like this when I asked you guys, this my very own community, about why you hate zero waste. You too agree that zero waste can be seen, or sometimes is, too expensive. And my advice here, if you're living zero waste and you're like, this is too expensive, I don't like this, dial it back. Like, if you're shopping at a bulk store and you're like at the end of your budget, quit shopping at the bulk store. Maybe that's a hot take as an environmentalist. A sustainable life has to be sustainable for you as well. And if you're burning yourself out because you're taking too much of your time making stuff from scratch, don't do it. If you're using too much of your money that you don't have enough money to buy food and medication, quit doing it. And no, I don't mean quit doing zero waste. I mean quit doing whatever it is that's too expensive, that's too time consuming for you. I used to make a lot of stuff from scratch, and mayonnaise and kombucha and hummus. Quite frankly, I didn't like the taste of any of it, except for the kombucha. I didn't like how much time it was taking up out of my life, so I quit doing that stuff. And instead, I focus my energy elsewhere that can hopefully allow me to reduce more waste in other areas and also just to enjoy my life. I would rather produce just a little bit more waste than I did back in those days and enjoy my eco life more than continue on that path to burnout, so far so that I would quit zero waste entirely. I would rather, again, go from living 90% zero waste to 80% zero waste than go full throttle trying to reach 100% zero waste, crash and burn, and then be 0% zero waste. If you have to dial it back and become a little bit more wasteful, I think that's okay. To sustain whatever maximum level of zero waste is your personal maximum. Anyway, bringing it back to perfection. You don't have to live the zero waste life that I live, that Shel Bizzle lives, that Emmy Lucas lives, that Gidamira Johansson lives, any zero waster that you watch here on YouTube or other socials. You don't have to live the exact same zero life that I do, that any of us do, and I don't have to live the zero waste life that you do. And if you're still unsure about if zero waste living can be free, can be easy, can be fun, I highly recommend you check out my full playlist right here with over 400 ways to live zero waste totally for free. Okay, an issue that so many of us have with the broader zero waste movement is it has really brought a lot of attention to greenwashing. As zero waste has become more and more popular, brands are starting to see that, oh, I can make a quick buck if I'm eco, or better yet, if I appear to be eco, therefore change nothing about my company, I'm still wasteful. But if I look a little bit eco-friendly, all those environmentalists, all those hippies will come buy my stuff and I will trick them into thinking that it's eco-friendly and it's not. It can be really hard to spot greenwashing from a truly eco one. I still fall for greenwashing, even 8 years into my zero waste journey. It is hard to spot. It takes practice. I have a full guide right here that you can download on my website, or you can check out this video right here on YouTube to get you started on what greenwashing is and how to tell apart a greenwashing brand versus a truly eco brand. And lastly, for today, there are more reasons I hate zero waste. If you want more, let me know. I can talk about them. Zero waste is overwhelming. From not knowing where to start to the looming climate anxiety, I get it. It can be a lot to take on, so here's my best advice. First, focus on what you can change right now. If you are new to zero waste and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy a bamboo toothbrush and toothpaste tabs and eco shampoo and eco toilet paper and I have to get rid of all my plastic containers and all of my clothes contain polyester too, what am I gonna do about that? It's very easy to spiral, I get that. So instead, start with what you can right now. If right here, right now, the only thing you can do is turn off your light and open your blinds and use that light, that's an eco action, and that's something that's very easy, achievable, attainable that you can do right here, right now, totally for free. If you can't make it to the store for a few days to swap out your plastic toothbrush for a bamboo one, that's okay. You don't have to do it right this instant, and honestly, the most sustainable thing is a thing that you already have. If you already have a full bottle of shampoo in your shower, even if it's a wasteful company, use that shampoo first. My second piece of advice here is to try, I know it's hard, to not stress stuff that's out of your control. Maybe you're like me and you need some medication to survive or to just function normally, and it comes in plastic, for example. Don't sweat it. I mean, if you want to give up that medication, that is your choice. But for me, I don't want to, and I talk more about my journey as a chronically ill environmentalist in this video. Because in this category, it can be very easy to get caught up into that striving for perfection and self-blame, and that like, I'm using this piece of plastic. Yes, this medication helps me to feel better, it helps me to be a better environmentalist, but like, it's still plastic. What do I do? I know it's easier said than done, but like, just have to stop caring about that. I don't know. That's the only thing that worked for me, because I had the same dilemma when I started taking medications for my migraines. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm such a bad environmentalist. My medication comes in plastic. Then one day I quit caring. I was like, I would rather live a pain-free or as much pain-free life as I can. I would rather use this opportunity to do more and bigger and better things within environmentalism, because now I'm not in as much pain. If you have to drive a car to get to work and your car runs off of gasoline, that seems pretty far out of your control. So don't sweat that. Instead, focus on something that is in your control, like a reusable water bottle, a reusable coffee cup. Hopefully this is all making sense. And my third piece of advice in this category is to keep learning. For me, I think education helps me to feel less overwhelmed, because now I'm better educated about a topic, right? Like if I'm really overwhelmed about climate change, I'm gonna learn about climate change and better understand it. If I'm feeling overwhelmed at the large amounts of zero waste swaps out there, maybe I'll watch some YouTube reviews about these brands to get a better idea about where I should start when it comes to my own journey shopping for eco swaps. And other stuff, like if you have no idea how to start zero waste grocery shopping, if you have no idea how to start your eco laundry routine, etc., there are plenty of resources out there on my page as well as if you are new to zero waste and you have no idea where to start, I highly recommend my Zero Waste in a Year guide, which you can always get for 15% off when you come from YouTube using code YouTube15. You can shop with the link below, but what's even in this guide? Every single month for an entire year, we cover a new topic every month, and within that month, you get 30 separate tips per month on that topic. For example, 30 tips all about zero waste grocery shopping, 30 tips all about eco cleaning. And yes, you can start right here, right now. It is designed to not have to be started at the beginning of a month or the beginning of a year. You can pick it up, put it down as you please. And it is mainly targeted at beginners and intermediate zero wasters, maybe not necessarily if you're a little bit more advanced, but I do have a full video outlining what this guide entails, who's it for, that you can check out right here. So this is why I personally don't like zero waste. Obviously, I still love zero waste. I am part of the movement. I use the terms myself when I make my content. It's just little things here and there that irk me from people who have no idea what this movement is even about, people from within the movement who might have just like lost sight of what the goal of the movement is, and then also companies co-opting the movement to greenwash us. Ugh, I wish we were all on the same page about, and like that's why I make this video, to kind of clear the air on some of these zero waste myths. Now, I am kind of conspiring a similar video, and like it's truly things about zero waste living that I don't like. It makes my life in a normal society harder. But like one example is because I don't use any scented items in my home, perfume, cologne, candles. When I go to somebody else's home, when I go out into public, those things extra give me a migraine because I'm not used to them. That's just one example. Ugh, zero waste life is so annoying because it makes living in a society that's not zero waste annoying. So if you want a full video on that, let me know. And continuing our conversation that we had over in the community page of the YouTube channel, let me know what you hate about zero waste living down below. I'm happy to make more in this like series. I guess I could make it a series if there's interest. So here is as far as I got on the rug. I did like maybe half of a row of black. Can you even see this whole thing? Yeah, you can see it all. I can see you through one of these little cracks. So that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you tuning into this video, and hopefully I helped bust some zero waste myths for you. As always, I will see you in the next video, but until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye guys. Stay, please stay. Hooray. Okay, also, where am I on the rug? Don't you want an inhabitable planet? You don't have to live the exact same zero life as us. I think I said that correctly. You don't have to live the exact same zero life that I do. Earring shout out. I actually don't remember the name of this brand. I got them locally. They're so dope. I actually got them for my Ren Fair costume, and then my shirt is from Yay for Earth. Excuse me. Toodles.